Hello guys, today I have this amazing story about a boy by Phil Cummings and Devries, and he looks pretty special with his very nice helmet with horns and stake, and he looks amazing. Are you ready to hear our story? And well, guess what? It's been shortlisted book for the Children's Book of the Year Awards. How amazing is that? Boy by Phil Cummings and Devries. Are you ready? Let's do this. Let's do this. Boy, guys. Look at that. Look at that. For my cousins and our shared memories of Paul, PC. Okay, guys, let's do this. Boy by Phil Cummings and Devries. Once there was a king who lived high on a hill. His castle looked over the valley to the mountains beyond. He was a powerful man with many brave knights. Guys, once upon a time, there was a castle and there lived a king. And he was a powerful man, and he had all his armies, knights. Look at that, they all are fighting. They all are going for a battle, guys. Look at that. There is a kingdom. There is a kingdom. The mountains were once rich with trees, but a powerful dragon had destroyed much of the forest with his fiery breath. Now guys, in that kingdom there lived a dragon too, and then he's been destroying trees with his fiery breath, guys. And he looks really cute, and he's purple, and he looks like he's rested, but then again he's destroying trees. In a small village on the edge of the burnt forest lived Boy. Boy couldn't hear, but he was happy. He spoke with dancing hands, and he drew pictures for people in the sand. His parents loved his stories, but the villagers didn't understand. What a strange child, they would say as they walked on by. Now guys, there once lived a boy there, and well, he couldn't hear, but he was happy, and he drew pictures for people in the sand, and always tell stories with his hand. He looks pretty amazing. Since the forest had been burnt, the king and the dragon had fought many fierce battles. There was roaring, flapping, rowing up, running about, hiding, dodging, weaving, and lot of shouting, guys. There's been fierce battles with dragon and knights. Roar, charge! And they're just battling out, as you can see. There was lots of roaring, flapping, hiding, dodging, weaving, and lots of shouting, and forests had been burnt. Boy couldn't hear the battle cries, but he had seen the fear in his mother's eyes and felt it in his father's hands when he held him close. The battle were loud and long, but no one ever won. Oh guys, the boy couldn't hear. He couldn't hear at all. He couldn't hear the loud cries of the battle. But then again, he could see his fear. He could see fear in his mother's eyes and hands. Well, his father's hands, he could see the battle. A battle that were lasted forever. Battle between dragon and people, as you can see, but no one ever won. No one ever won. One day, when the king and the dragon were battling once more, Boy ran right into the middle of it. Oh, now guys, guys, there's been a battle once more, and there's been roaring and fighting, and now boy had enough. Boy had enough, and he just ran into the middle of it. The knights were stunned. "Move!" they shouted. "Get out of the way, boy!" ordered the king. "Roar!" below the dragon. But of course, boy couldn't hear them. Now guys, he just ran in the middle of the battle, and there's been fighting going on, as you can see. Roar, dragon, and metals clanking. But boy, he couldn't hear, and he just ran in the middle of the battle. I think he's about to do something. He's about to do something. Flames flared from the dragon's nostril. The knights waved their swords frantically as they marched over to boy. "Why aren't you listening?" shouted the king. Now guys, as you can see, it looks like he's helping these poor creatures who is in the midst of battle, and there's been battling out, and there's been hissing from the dragon, and king is pretty worried, and he doesn't know that boy couldn't hear, and he's like, "Why aren't you listening, boy?" But boy, he just couldn't hear. Now boy was surprised when he looked up and saw them all. He watched them for the moment and then made his hand dance. Well, hands dance. The knights were flabbergasted. The king was puzzled. The dragon was mystified. Now guys, there's a boy in the middle of the battle, and he's just waving his hands, trying to communicate, as he couldn't hear and he couldn't speak. And he's trying to wave his hands, this poor little small boy, and they are just amazed. What is he doing? What is he doing? Even dragon is looking at him. What is that little boy doing? As you can see, and they are all puzzled and mystified. Puzzled and mystified. Now boy could see that they didn't understand him. So he took a sword and wrote in the sand. Now it looks like they're a bit puzzled. And look at that. And he wrote in the sand for them to understand. "Why are you fighting? Why are you fighting?" And they are all puzzled. "Why are you fighting? Why are you fighting?" And everybody's puzzled. They're just wondering, why are we fighting? Seriously, why are we fighting? We've been fighting for ages. And why are we fighting? As you can see, there was silence until suddenly the king pointed to the dragon. "He started it," he cried. "He burned our forest." The dragon shook his head. "It was an accident," she wrote. "I sneezed a fireball into the trees. I came to say sorry, but your knights chased me away." Oh, the knights pointed to the king. "He told us to do," they cried. Now guys, there's been pointing, blaming, pointing and blaming going on, as you can see. Now king is blaming the dragon, dragon's blaming the knights, and knights blaming the king. Well, I guess there's been a big misunderstanding. There's been a big misunderstanding, guys. There's been a big misunderstanding. It turns out, Mr. Dragon here was just sneezing. And he's sneezing, and accidentally he burned down the whole forest. And well, without them knowing, they just charged without understanding what the problem was. They were just fighting for no reason. As you can see, there's been a big misunderstanding. The king looked up at the dragon. "Well, I thought you were coming to take my castle," he said. "Your castle is far too small for me," the dragon replied. "All I want for you to stop chasing me. I don't like being scared." "Nor do we," chorused the knights. Now guys, I think there's been a bit of communication gap. And well, they're all talking. They're talking out loud. They're talking out loud. As you can see, they're just figuring stuff out. They're talking. And it looks like he was scared the dragon might come for his castle. But then it turns out this castle, it might be too small for dragon. And he was just sneezing. He couldn't help. He was just sneezing. Oh. The boy drew a picture of everyone in the sand. He showed them how their days could be without fighting and fear. There was a lot of chatting and laughing. Now, guys, they talked out loud, as you can see. Now, boy is trying to draw pictures for them, like how they could be without fighting, how they could be without fear, how they could help each other out. As you can see now, they all are laughing. They all threw away their swords, and they're all just laughing and looking at those pictures and trying to clear the misunderstanding. And I think they're trying to be friends. I promise the knights won't chase you anymore, said the king to the dragon, and you can visit my castle whenever you like. And I will cover my nose when I sneeze, said the dragon. The boy couldn't hear a word, but he didn't need to. Now, guys, look at him. Such a sweetie. Now he knew what the problem was. Why were you fighting? Why are you fighting? You were fighting for no reason, and well, just communicate, just talk it out. There's been a quite big misunderstanding, and as you can see, they talked it out, and it's all because of him. It's all because of him, as you can see. Problem solved. Now, back in the village, everyone was waiting to see Boy. Thank you, they said with dancing hands. Now, guys, now everybody's dancing their hands saying thank you to the boy. Such a cute little boy, guys. He just stopped fighting. He stopped the war. He stopped the war from happening just by a simple sentence. Why are you fighting? Why aren't you talking? What is this big misunderstanding all about? And then again, with all that, they lived happily ever after. And there you go. They're all thanking him, moving their hands like he does, and he understands, guys. And they're all saying thank you. Thank you so much, boy. Thank you so much, boy. As you can see, what a beautiful story. A king's battle with the dragon were always mighty and loud. Roar! Click, 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 click. The boy lived in silence and couldn't hear the fighting, but he could see the fear around him and how everyone would be happier without it. A tender tale of power and perception from award-winning team Phil Cummings and Devries. That is so true, guys. A tender tale of power and perception.